From the land of the rising sun comes week-long coverage of the 2008 Tokyo Game Show. X-Play's in Japan to bring you all the earth-shaking news and explosive new games from Asia's largest video game convention. We've got the very latest on the biggest games from TGS. Halo 3 Recon, Bayonetta, Ninja Blade, Tenchu 4, White Knight Chronicles, and Resident Evil 5. Plus, only X-Play has the world broadcast premiere of Gears of War 2 multiplayer. You won't see this hardcore action anywhere else on television. We'll take you onto the show floor to witness the madness yourself and talk to the heaviest hitters in the business. This is the future of gaming. This is X-Play at the Tokyo Game Show, and it starts now.
Hello and welcome to X-Play at the 2008 Tokyo Game Show, presented by Max Payne, in theaters October 17th. I'm Morgan Webb, coming to you from the show floor in, you guessed it, Tokyo, Japan. Today kicks off 4 days of coverage of TGS. There are over 800 games here from 200 companies, and we've got the biggies. Now, coming up, we've got your first look at a new episode in one of the largest franchises in gaming. It's Halo 3 Recon. Then it's a Ninja double feature. First, we take you inside the just announced Tenchu 4 for the Wii, followed up by Ninja Blade. We have got your all-access look at this fast-paced hack and slasher for the 360. But first, I am gonna fight the crowds and head over to Sony's booth to see what we can get our hands on. And as you can see, it is just packed to the gills, full of people dying to get their hands on the latest titles. Now, as you're going to see, it does have a lot of titles geared towards Western audiences, but there are some that are squarely aimed at the denizens of Tokyo as well. Let's see what they have cooking. Now, I know it seems like a quintessentially American game, but SOCOM Confrontation is pretty popular here in Japan too. It's out very soon, and you know what? Their beta test was huge. It broke all kinds of records for attendance. Way of the Samurai 3 takes place before the Edo period in Japan. Of course, feudal Japan, samurais are everywhere. Now you, as the player, have a choice. There are 3 factions surrounding you, so you can choose which faction to go to, or you can just play rogue. Now, it's all about action, all about swordplay, and you'll be seeing it very soon. Now, this may look just like a button masher hack and slash, but Demon's Souls actually does have RPG elements and strategy. You do have to pick your weapons. Right now I have a flaming sword, which is awesome. They actually have Home playable here on the show floor. Now, Home is Sony's really answer to the Xbox Live Arcade. It's a world where you can run around and meet your friends, and you're going to have a home and a closet where you can change your clothes and be able to interact with your friends and the games in a sort of virtual world. Now, they actually have playable here. They have a closed beta going on right now. By the end of 2008, they're going to have an open beta, so you're going to get it on your PlayStation 3 very soon. Also on the floor here at Sony, yet another Gran Turismo Prologue.
Gran Turismo Prologue Spec 3 will be bundled with the 80GB PlayStation 3. In this prologue, the arrangement has been simplified to make it easier for first-time users when they start to play.
From the look of things, it's clear that Sony is in for more than just a little big year. Alright, I know what you want, but we're going to get to Halo 3 Recon in just a second. First, let's enter a rift in time and head over to Los Angeles, where Adam has all of the day's top headlines in the Gaming Update.
New attendance records have been set for this year's Tokyo Game Show. The event's organizer announced a total attendance of 194,000. That number just barely tops last year's record attendance of 193,000. Numbers for the first 2 business days of the 4-day event were lower than last year's, but both of the event's public days were well above last year's totals. I blame Square Enix. Blizzard rocked the real-time strategy world of BlizzCon 2008, where they announced that StarCraft 2 will consist of 3 standalone titles. No, these won't be expansions. Separate SKUs will be released for each faction in the game. The first title in the trilogy will be called StarCraft 2 Terrans, Wings of Liberty. Second in line will be StarCraft 2 Zerg, Herd of the Swarm. And finally, StarCraft 2 Protoss, Legacy of the Void. Each entry of the trilogy is expected to be around the size of the original StarCraft. And finally, Ultima and Tabula Rasa creator Richard Garriott, aka Lord British, has blasted into space. After paying a reported $30 million for a 10-day trip to the International Space Station, Garriott hopped aboard a 3-stage Russian-built rocket for the trip. The notorious game designer began training for the mission back in January and plans to carry out experiments on behalf of companies who helped pay for his ticket. And that's it for the gaming update. Now keep your iPod fed with the latest TGS 08 videos and download GeForce Special TGS podcast. Check out the X-Play feed at GeForceTV.com/podcast. Right now, let's send it back over to Morgan.
Thanks, Adam. Now, believe it or not, at this year's TGS, it's Microsoft. Yeah, you heard that right. Microsoft's been one of the biggest surprises. Last month, the 360 outsold the PS3 in Japan, and this year's TGS keynote was given by Microsoft's John Schaeffer. Along with Bungie, they announced a brand new chapter in the Halo series, Halo 3 Recon. Here's your first look. Halo 3 Recon is being described as an expansion to the series. Instead of playing as Master Chief, you'll guide an orbital drop shock trooper through the events that occur roughly between the second and third entries in the trilogy. If you're a die-hard Halo fan, you probably have a lot of questions right about now. Fortunately, we got an expert to fill us in. All right, I'm here with Brian Gerard from Bungie, and you guys had a little bit of an announcement here at TGS.
Absolutely. Halo 3 Recon, it's now out in the open. It's the sort of the expansion to Halo 3, and it'll be coming out in stores next fall. It's not the Bungie way just to kind of do more of the same, and we know our fans have been clamoring for just more Halo content, but we're going to give it to you in a twist this time. And you won't be a Super Spartan, you'll actually be an ODST. Which means you're going to have to be a little more cautious and careful in your battles because you're no longer an invulnerable super soldier.
Halo 3 Recon picks up at an interesting moment in the Halo trilogy.
In Halo 2, as Master Chief is leaving the planet following the Covenant towards Delta Halo, they set off a slipspace rupture. It annihilates the city, and that's the events that sort of triggered today's trailer that we showed. So you will actually be an ODST dropped into the city after the Covenant have already occupied it, destroyed it, and left. And you're trying to sort of piece together what's happened. Meanwhile, Master Chief's light years away fighting the Covenant.
At Bungie's presentation, they dispelled rumors that the game would feature cameos from well-known characters. They also dismissed inaccurate early reports that Recon would be a squad-based shooter a la Rainbow Six. But they had good news for fans wanting more multiplayer action.
Recon's going to include new multiplayer maps for Halo 3. They're sort of traditional Halo 3 multiplayer. Several new maps on the way, including the Mythic Map Pack, which actually will be available on Marketplace early next year.
According to Bungie, Halo 3 Recon will be sold as a standalone disc that is sold in brick-and-mortar stores. You won't need to own a copy of Halo 3 to play. Do you guys have sort of a window that we're expecting to see this game out?
All we know right now is it'll be out next fall, and as soon as that sort of gets firmed up, we'll definitely be making that announcement.
For Halo Maniacs, next fall can't come soon enough. Be sure to watch as 4 G4 viewers compete for Ninja Glory in Ninja Fest 3. On November 12th, you'll see Attack of the Show's Kevin and Olivia run the course and experience never-before-seen helmet cam.